January 15, 1947. The sun rises over Los Angeles, casting long shadows across empty lots and quiet suburban streets. The war has ended, America is booming, and Hollywood's dream factory is in full swing. Glamour fills the newspapers. Movie stars shine on billboards. Los Angeles is the city of opportunity. But on this morning, a discovery will shatter that illusion. A mother walking with her child notices something unusual in a vacant lot at South Norton Avenue, near 39th Street. At first, she thinks it's a mannequin, pale and discarded, lying in the grass. She moves closer. Her breath catches. This is no mannequin. It is the mutilated body of a young woman. The Black Dahlia. Who was she? Why was she killed in such a brutal, theatrical fashion? And why, after more than 75 years, does her murder remain one of the darkest unsolved crimes in Hollywood history? This is not just a story about a murder. It is about a dream turned nightmare, a city with secrets, and a case that still haunts Los Angeles to this day. Elizabeth Short was just 22 years old. Born in Boston, raised in Massachusetts, she grew up in the shadow of the Great Depression. Like many young women of her time, she dreamed of something bigger, of escape, of lights, of Hollywood. She was striking. Dark hair, porcelain skin, and a fashion sense that stood out. Friends called her Beth. Strangers would one day call her the Black Dahlia, a name inspired by a film noir and her preference for wearing black. Elizabeth moved west chasing stardom. She floated between jobs, friends, and boyfriends. She was charming, sometimes mysterious, often elusive, but she was also vulnerable, a young woman alone in a city full of predators. Hollywood has always promised opportunity, but for every star who makes it, countless hopefuls disappear into the background. Elizabeth Short would become famous, but not for the reason she dreamed. But on that January morning, when her body was found, everything changed. The mother screamed. Neighbors rushed over. Police arrived quickly, and what they saw was so gruesome that many officers would never forget it. Elizabeth Short's body was severed in two at the waist. Her skin pale, drained of blood. Her face marked with a grotesque, permanent smile. Her mouth cut from ear to ear. Her body had been carefully washed, posed deliberately, as if the killer wanted to send a message. Los Angeles police were stunned. This wasn't just a killing. It was a performance. Reporters flooded the scene. Photographers snapped pictures. Within hours, the story was splashed across headlines. The Black Dahlia murder, and the city of Los Angeles was plunged into fear. But if the crime was shocking, what investigators uncovered next would push the boundaries of horror even further. Los Angeles in the 1940s was a city of contradictions. On one hand, it was the birthplace of dreams, a paradise of sunshine, beaches, and movie stars. On the other, it was a city of shadows, corruption, crime, and hidden scandals. The Black Dahlia case exposed those shadows. For weeks, newspapers couldn't stop printing her story. The press gave Elizabeth Short her infamous nickname, glamorizing her tragedy while sensationalizing her death. Neighbors locked their doors. Women looked over their shoulders. The idea that such horror could strike in a quiet suburban lot made everyone uneasy. This was not a random act of violence. This was something else, something calculated. Who could do this? And why did it feel as if the killer wanted the world to see their work? The Los Angeles Police Department launched one of the largest manhunts in its history. Hundreds of officers were assigned to the case. Thousands of leads were followed. Suspects were questioned day and night. Elizabeth's past was dissected in the press. Every man she had known was scrutinized. Every letter, every photograph, every rumor was examined. But investigators faced a troubling reality. Elizabeth Short had lived a transient life. She had no steady job, no fixed home, and her circle of acquaintances stretched across the city. She drifted from couch to couch, friend to friend, dream to dream. Her lifestyle gave the press ammunition. They painted her as a party girl, a mysterious femme fatale. But behind the headlines was just a young woman trying to find her place in the world. And now, She was the center of a mystery that seemed to grow darker by the day. Then came the taunts. Days after the murder, the Los Angeles Examiner newspaper received an envelope. Inside were Elizabeth's personal belongings, her birth certificate, business cards, photographs. The package had been carefully cleaned with gasoline to remove fingerprints. A letter arrived soon after with words cut from newspaper clippings. "Here is Dahlia's belongings. Letter to follow." The killer was playing games. The police braced for more, and more came. Letters, phone calls, tips, some real, most false. The case became a circus, with reporters, detectives, and even pranksters feeding the frenzy. But one thing was clear: the killer wanted attention. And what investigators found in those letters would push them closer to suspects who seemed to hide in plain sight. Over the years, the number of suspects ballooned to more than 150. From drifters to doctors, from boyfriends to strangers, nearly every lead was explored. Some stood out. Mark Hansen, a nightclub owner Elizabeth knew. Robert Manley, the last man to see her alive. And most chilling of all, Dr. George Hodel, a wealthy physician with dark secrets. Hodel was brilliant, charismatic, and connected. But he was also accused of abuse and suspected in other violent crimes. Decades later, his own son, Steve Hodel, a former LAPD detective, would publish books accusing his father of being the Black Dahlia killer. But in 1947, police could never prove it. Evidence was weak, suspects slipped away, and the trail grew cold. Why? Was it incompetence? Or corruption? Or was the killer simply too clever to be caught? The Black Dahlia case did more than horrify Los Angeles. It revealed the underbelly of Hollywood. Elizabeth Short became a symbol not of glamour, but of exploitation. She was a young woman consumed by the city's promise, only to be destroyed by its shadows. Reporters turned her tragedy into spectacle. Rumors of her love life, her habits, her struggles were printed like scandal sheets. Hollywood, a place built on image and illusion, had turned her into both a star and a ghost. And in doing so, it blurred the line between victim and myth. For decades, the Black Dahlia murder haunted Los Angeles. Cold case detectives revisited the files. Authors, filmmakers, and journalists obsessed over the details. Books were written, movies made, theories spun. But despite endless speculation, no one was ever charged. The murder remains unsolved. And yet, the case continues to fascinate. Why? Perhaps because it is not only about a crime. It is about a city, a culture, and the way we treat women who dare to chase dreams in dangerous places. Elizabeth Short wanted to be remembered, and she was, but not as an actress, not as a star. She was remembered as the Black Dahlia, and that name would live forever. The Black Dahlia murder is more than a headline. It is a mirror, reflecting both the light and darkness of Hollywood. Elizabeth Short's death remains unsolved, but her story remains alive. She is remembered not just for the brutality of her end, but for the fragility of her dream. And so we are left with haunting questions. Who killed Elizabeth Short? Why did they do it? And why, in all these years, has the truth never surfaced? Perhaps the answer lies in silence, perhaps in power, or perhaps it still lingers in the shadows of Los Angeles, waiting for someone to uncover it. What do you think happened? Leave your theory in the comments. Someone out there knows the truth. And if you believe stories like this deserve to be heard, don't forget to subscribe to Captain Justice True Stories.